Okay, this is the Gaming Beast. To the Death Mug of Doom to all of you awesome Beast fans. This is my first vlog of sorts. Let's get to it. Been checking out superhero hype, and yeah, DC Comics, after they announced they're doing a Justice League and a Wonder Woman movie just conveniently after Avengers hit over $1 billion fucking dollars of box office revenue. That's just box office, okay? That's not the merchandise, any kind of tie-ins with any kind of restaurants or advertisements, anything. It's just a pure box office, so already big slap of win right there. They've been announcing movies. They said that they're working on movies like The Flash, Aquaman, Green Arrow, Lobo, the main man, big fan of that, and the Suicide Squad. If you don't know the Suicide Squad, it's interesting. DC's take on, basically they have their Arkham Asylum, kind of like Belle Reve, I guess. It's like their Marvel has that superhero prison where they put all the supervillains in there, and some superheroes who have been assholes into that. I forgot the name. Whatever. Belle Reve in DC Universe, or if you're in Gotham City, it's Arkham Asylum. And Arkham Asylum is more than an insanity institute for, not necessarily for the super powered, but just the super insane assholes. But anyway, Suicide Squad is a program to rehabilitate supervillains with crazy insane powers. What they do is they say, we're going to implant a bomb in your head and you will do missions in a group. And if you say no, like basically, if you do the mission but if you refuse and you do stuff you shouldn't do, we're going to blow your freaking heads up. But if you comply and do the missions, you will have years removed of your sentence, which usually these guys have long sentences, depending on who you're talking to. Okay, mostly these are guys with superpowers, and not guys that they couldn't control. They probably would never put in Joker into a Suicide Squad group because Joker could manipulate his ass out of that shit. They lock up Joker and throw away the keys and throw away the guy who remembers where the keys were. Okay? Pretty much. So yeah, Green Arrow, Aquaman, Flash, Lobo, the Suicide Squad, and Shazam, also known as Captain Marvel. Shazam is actually the mage who gave Captain Marvel his power. And the reason why they always say Shazam is because of legal reasons. There was a Captain Marvel superhero who was very much a ripoff of Superman from Charlton Comics, I believe. There was another comics company. Back in the Golden Age, there was many comic companies, and a lot of them were straight up ripping off different comic book characters like Superman, Batman, and so on. Captain America. Although Captain America wasn't the first guy who was running in a costume based off the American flag with a shield. That was actually a guy literally called the Shield. That's another story. Point in being is that Captain Marvel, the character, was actually DC sued for copyright infringement because Captain Marvel was so similar. He was a cape-wearing, muscular man. He had a red costume, okay, but in many ways he was very similar to Superman. Super strength, super speed, super flight. Nowadays you have a character like that. It's actually a character archetype called a pariah, I think. Might be wrong there, but it's a Superman type superhero. Very powerful, can fly, have super strength, and maybe a couple of other superpowers. It's an archetype, just like you have the Batman archetype, which is the gadgeteering guy who doesn't have powers, but he has gadgets usually, and sort of the vigilante type. And you have the shape-shifting superhero, you have the blaster superhero, you have the super strong superhero like Hulk, and so on and so forth. Pariah is like the Superman type superhero, which kind of doesn't make sense, but if you think about it, Superman was one of the first superheroes. Not the very first, but the one to lay down the ground rules for many other superheroes to come. Many of the cliches that a lot of people hate about superheroes were based upon Superman. Anyway, this news wasn't surprising to me, since DC Warner has been teasing us with news of a Captain Marvel Shazam movie for many years, saying that, oh yeah, we will cast The Rock as Captain Marvel or his arch nemesis Captain Atom. Honestly, The Rock would have made a really good Captain Atom, not a good Captain Marvel. I would have chosen a different actor for that. And I thought that movie was in production, but apparently it was just talked about, never really greenlit. I don't even know if there's a script floating around, but it was talked about at least. The Flash was tried a couple of times, just like Wonder Woman was, and yeah, here's my notes. And Green Lantern. And Green Lantern eventually succeeded, although with results we will not talk about. Nipple shots, Schumacher. Yeah, I'm not even gonna say Schumacher, but you know what I'm talking about. Wonder Woman, yes! Yeah, that was previously known that there's a Wonder Woman movie. Green Arrow. Now, it is a fact that there is a Green Arrow TV series premiering. And it's just called Arrow. And I talked about this in my podcast. I will post a link in the description. I'm not happy about it because it's just called Arrow. They're being apologetic about it, ashamed of the comic book source. That is the worst starting indication of a comic book property. When I was younger, I was always more optimistic. I was always more apologetic. I was always saying, well, they're compromising for certain reasons because, you know, this would make more sense, this would be better. And now, after seeing movies like The Avengers, I say fuck you. That's all I can say. Okay. Lobo. I'm a big Lobo fan. I'm a big fan of the main man. And to be quite honest, yeah. I don't know if they can pull off a good Lobo movie at all. Unless they dilute it a lot, like they did with The Mask. The Mask originally was a very dark comic book. To Death Doom. I don't know, they're saying Green Arrow is in production. There was a rumor. Apparently the guy who did this movie with these teenage kids with superpowers, what was that name? I don't know. I hear it was pretty good. I'm gonna probably watch it, but I don't know the name. It's shot in this stupid format like Blair Witch Project or that giant monster movie. And I'm like, let me change that fast. Anyway, sorry if I haven't been looking directly into the camera, but now I am. So, I don't know that movie title, but because I haven't written it down here, but I'm gonna probably put it in an annotation. It's this movie title, and now the producers and the producers who have now all the rights says like, oh, you make money, you great now, we will give you everything. You know, they want to give him the rights to make a Fantastic Four movie, to make an X-Men movie, because he also made some kind of YouTube video, cheap video why the death of Superman ruined every other comic book. And a lot of people did like it, and the reason why they liked it is because they obviously hate Superman. And I'm not saying that I'm not watching. I've seen that video, and it's like, you know, I really like Superman and whatever, blah, blah, blah. But the death of Superman ruined everything for comic books. And I'm like, yeah, the death of Superman was one of the best-selling comic books, maybe the best-selling comic book of all time. So, don't talk to me about shit like that, okay? I'm not saying that DC does a lot of shit, and I do agree that, yes, they brought him back right away. But what are they gonna do? It's fucking Superman. At that time, Superman was still he's one of the most known superheroes, if not the most known superhero. Although, as I said before, nowadays the most known superhero is Batman. And the young kids love Batman because he doesn't have any powers. That apparently is the greatest thing ever, that there's a guy with no powers. And I can see, yes, he's the guy with no powers that succeeds still, and is very, they don't understand that still his abilities are very unrealistic in many ways. I'm not saying they're impossible, but it's impossible. Things are impossible that are just not possible. And then you have things that are probable. You have basically improbable things. Things that could be possible, but probably not gonna happen. Improbable. Okay? So yeah. Green Arrow, Suicide Squad, and Shazam. Now, who knows which is more in development? Obviously, you have already Flash. Flash was in development for a long time. The only thing I ever seen of them in production and fruition was the Flash series. Aquaman, I've never seen anything live action Aquaman official. So, and apparently even DC guys have been playing around with. I have heard a rumor that they wanted to make Aquaman as a movie, but as a spoof. That was actually that wasn't a rumor, that was a fact, that at one time they wanted to take Green Lantern and make it into a spoof, starring none other than Jack fucking Black. Facepalm. Not against Jack Black, you know, he has his place, he can be really funny and entertaining. But yeah, he was, the fans, as soon as they heard that millisecond of that information, they said no. So, no being, you know, Warner, if you ever do that, we're never gonna buy any DC Comics, we're never gonna watch any Warner things for a long time. Yeah, so that never happened. Instead, we had a lot of failed attempts, and eventually we got Ryan Reynolds, which in my opinion is still a failed attempt. Some people who are being apologetic, they like it. I used to be one of those. It's somewhat entertaining, but it's still not the blockbuster that it could have been. And it has too many problems. There's too many problems that it's still, I like that it's still, I can accept it as a Green Lantern movie, but it's not a good Green Lantern movie. Unfortunately, it's the only Green Lantern movie other than the live action appearances in the failed Justice League TV series pilot, and what is Legend of the Superheroes, this really obscure TV special, where they were basically just making fun of superheroes. It was kind of like a talk show. People that considered that as anything as a true live action superhero thing. Even the fucking Spider-Man TV series was more of a superhero show than that. Okay, I'm not gonna watch a show where people dress up as the characters, where other people just roast them. You know, that's That's not what I'm looking for in a goddamn superhero show, okay? You know, I love these characters. Maybe I'm not so familiar with every one of the characters, but I love the world and I love these characters. And yeah, I don't mind. Sure, I make fun of them, and it's fun to make fun of them. You know, it's very easy to make fun of them. The parodies are really cool, and they're great. You know, that are cool. But if that's the only thing that is there, you know, I remember even also there has been a lot of spoof of things like the Justice League. Then this Legend of Superheroes. That was another show, I believe, I remember as a kid, a British show. We had a recording. And that was one of the first, one and only times I remember seeing Green Lantern and Hawkman in live action. Was in those shows, and I always remember them seeing them as a parody. So if that's the only thing you have, sorry. I don't know. You know, this Arrow show I've talked about on my podcast, I don't care about. I don't care about it. I mean, he doesn't have the mask. He just has the hood. He's being all douchebaggy, all Michael Bay-ish. Fuck that. Fuck that bullshit. I'm sick and tired of that all fakey bullshit. All that thing that, oh yeah, we're gonna do the comic book, but we're gonna do it our way, and we're gonna do it how it would make sense. What makes fucking sense? It's a fucking guy with a bow and arrow. Get over yourself, DC. You know, it's just like characters that don't work. Just go with it. Just have fun with it. Like Avengers, okay? It's a guy throwing a shield. You know, in reality, these aliens would shoot him in 2 seconds. In reality, the guy who's the Hulk, he wouldn't be a good guy. He would just go insane until he would die of radiation poisoning. In reality, a guy who says that he's the God of Thunder, he wouldn't give a fuck. He would just be in the clouds somewhere shooting lightning. In reality, a guy like Tony Stark would have a multinational network he would have a corporation selling all his suits to everyone who's the highest bidder. You want reality, or do you want to have fun? You want to have heroes. You want to have ideals we can believe in. You know, like Superman or Batman. Batman, who doesn't get corrupted by anyone, will never lift a gun against anyone. You know, or Green Lantern, the man without fear, or Superman, Kal-El, the man who will selfishly defend a world that is not his own, or Wonder Woman, the woman who will defend man's world. Yeah, she's pretty much the absolute female heroine in ever. Like, not ever, but like in the superhero terms, when you think female superhero, who do you think? Wonder Woman, maybe Supergirl. And you probably would prefer Wonder Woman, right? Because Wonder Woman, it defends also female rights. So if DC, if you want to have you want to throw your towel into the political correct debate, you gotta have a Wonder Woman movie. And yes, you announced, but who are the fucking writers? You know, it's not. You know, it's not the guy who directed Avengers. It's some other dude. The guy who wrote Green Lantern. You know, I mean, what the fuck? What the flippin' fuck? You know. Yes, I'm ranting, and I'm sick and fucking tired about this shit. Oh yeah, DC announced. And you know why? Because this guy pretty much here, Kibble, said it. No, not even that guy said it. Wait, print it out. Okay, here's this guy, I'm fan 72. He said it just how the fucking is, Warner DC, just how the fucking is. And if I'm wrong, prove me wrong. Prove me wrong, and I will shut my fucking mouth, okay? I won't even say anything, shut my fucking mouth. Warner Brothers does this every year. Announce they have movies planned, they start development on them, and for some unknown reason, They up and stop. All the fans will get is another Batman and Superman movie, and a couple of bad TV shows and several cartoons, while Marvel continues to turn out hit after hit with their characters. All this been said and done before. To be fair, I will change what he said a little bit. Marvel, a lot of the movies that they've been doing, they have been in different situations. They sold a lot of their live action rights to other studios. But those studios have been doing, and they haven't been putting out hit after hit. A lot of the stuff that was churned out by their studios was crap, like Daredevil, Ghost Rider, which are really good, really have a high potential properties, you know. The thing is, Marvel now has figured out, now has the money, they have their own studio to make the things how they want to, right? But they cannot use all their characters. They cannot use X-Men characters, which is goddamn a lot of characters that they have. They cannot use Spider-Man. I mean, you think Marvel, one of the first characters you think is Spider-Man, and you think Wolverine, which is X-Men, you know. They have gained rights back for Punisher, which is good, you know, because the Punisher movies more or less failed, all of them. And they gained rights back for the Blade movies, which were successful, but the third one was like, you know, that's it. And then the studio, Lionsgate Studio, I think, said, you know, here's back the license, you know, whatever. Fantastic Four, I heard that they did 2 movies, they want to do a reboot. I really hope they fail. I really hope they fail. Yes. Fox, I really hope you fail with your shitty Fantastic Four movies, because I want to see a good Fantastic Four movie. And by the way, Brady, yes, this is to Brady, my old roommate. I believe there can be an awesome Fantastic Four movie done, and it could be one of the best superhero movies ever. Because if you think of Fantastic Four, you think epicness. Okay? That's what I'm gonna say here. Because that's the fucking truth. Okay? And yeah, basically it's mostly Superman and Batman stuff. But you know what? It's not even Superman stuff. It's just Batman, Batman, Batman. Batman, Batman, Christopher Nolan. Ooh, I'm Christopher Nolan, and I'm so great. I'm invincible. Because it's the realism and the complexity of the character, and about his dreams, and about realism, and about, you know what? Okay, when it boils down to it, I want to see fucking crazy people with insane powers, wearing insane costumes, punching it out in the face, shooting lasers, and doing other crazy shit. Yeah, I know what you're gonna think. Oh, you're childish, right? And yeah, whatever. If you ever read a comic book, an American style comic book, you agree. If you even read a manga, okay, if you fucking manga nerds, you know, I remember when they tried to take a manga and make it into an American style live action movie, like Dragon Ball Z, you complained the fuck out of it. And you know what, you were right, because it was nothing like the fucking anime, or the manga, you know. It was nothing like it. They tried to shoehorn Dragon Ball Z in some kind of weird Karate Kid bullshit story. You know, where you have Goku who's like insecure about himself, you know. Goku was never fucking insecure, he didn't give a fucking shit about himself, okay? Goku is basically, in many ways, the anime answer to Superman. Yes. Yes. Believe it or not. Brady, you said that yourself. And a lot of people know that. Okay? He is Journey to the West, the old story from Chinese mythology, the story, and the Monkey Boy, the philosophical story, combined with American-style superheroics. Specifically, he's combined with Superman. Okay? So, I'm not saying that there hasn't been any good comic book adaptations, because Marvel did a good job. Watchmen was good. The new Batman movies were good. Even the first 2 Batman movies were good. But there's been a lot of shit shoved down our throat, and we've been accepting that. And I've been accepting that, you know. And I've been like saying, yeah, yes, good, whatever. No. I want Daredevil to revert. I want all the rights to revert back to Marvel. And I want Warner DC to get their fucking balls together and do something bold. Some people have said, you should build it up like Marvel, you should make the characters. You know what? Just make a Justice League movie. After Superman. I dare you, Warner DC. You of course plan it out right, get a good script done. But don't wait forever. The superhero wave it has been declining for years. Okay, now with Avengers and probably the new Batman and you know what? It was almost gone if there hadn't been a Iron Man movie or a new Batman movie, that Batman Begins and Dark Knight. Without Dark Knight and Iron Man 2, the superhero wave would have been gone. And there would have been some kind of other wave. We would be still riding the vampire wave or whatever. Oh, I love you. You are such a sexy vampire, but I cannot show any emotions because I can't act. Don't even get me started on that shit. Don't even get me started. You know what? I'm gonna regret this, but this is fucking apple wine, so whatever. Which is actually good, It's not as strong as wine, it's strong as beer. It tastes good. It's fucking apple wine. Anyway. DC Warner, obviously you want a Justice League movie, you want to make the money. If you want to make the money, make the fans satisfied. Number one, give Superman his fucking underpants back. I'm sorry. I don't like the look. Okay? I'll be fucking honest. I don't like that fucking look. Ooh, he wears his underpants. You know what? Fuck this shit up. There's another big superhero who wears his underpants on the outside. You know what his name is? Fucking Batman. Oh, Batman wears all black and shit. No, he didn't. Up until the reboot, he was wearing gray-black. Or gray-blue. Or like really old school. But at least gray-black. Gray here, black undies, black boots, black cowl, black cape. That was Batman's outfit. For a long time it was even blue. Okay? So let's not lie to ourselves, okay? Batman is more like Superman than you want to admit. Sure, obviously he doesn't have, he's like exact opposite in power and in style. But in many ways their philosophies are very similar. Their costumes are also very similar, okay? So let's not lie to ourselves. The whole black costume thing only happened with the movies and the new reboot. I mean, sure, there was a couple of times where they updated his costume, but it always reverted back to the old school costume. Now it's like the black Dark Knight costume. I'm the Dark Knight. Christopher Nolan is the greatest shit ever. Fuck you. You know what? I like the movies. I'm not saying that. Christopher Nolan's not gonna watch this. Christopher Nolan is somewhere having sex with 40 supermodels and eating like 20 million pounds of caviar and drinking the best champagne. Or you know what? He's probably eating vegan food and being holier than thou. I don't. You know what? I don't even care anymore. I don't care, because these producers, they've been put to these pedestals. I care about the characters. I don't even care what the comic book guys, the writers, do with them, because they're just guys who grew up with these comic books, just like me, and they do their own shit. They have just, I'm not saying that they didn't work their way up to deserve the rights, but I don't agree with the changes that they made. I don't agree with the new 52. Like, you think it's such a big deal taking away the underpants of Superman. But you know what? Superman's costume has been tried to be updated for years and years. You know what? I could even accept Blue Energy Superman. But if you have the costume so similar, but you take away the underpants and you give him the little belt thing, it just looks weird as shit. Okay? It doesn't make him more cool. Neither does making him look all black. It's not the costume you have to change, it's the stories you have to change. Okay, you have to get more creative stories. Okay, DC? Yeah. It's just like with Spider-Man. You've been trying to change his fucking costume. Once you said, oh, there is Peter Parker and there's Ben Reilly. And I'm a big Spider-Man fan. I'm a huge Spider-Man fan. There was a time I didn't even look at DC. I only read Spider-Man, Conan, Fantastic Four, the Hulk. That's all I read. Okay? Okay, DC? Yeah, that's all I read. But then you said, oh, Peter Parker, he's a clone. And Ben Reilly is the real guy. And I was like, oh, it's really weird. And I was following Peter Parker all the time and he's a fake now. But you know, I still feel that Peter Parker is the real guy because he was doing all the work. And now Peter Parker is going to be, you know, a family man. He's going to have a kid. Okay, I can accept this transition that, you know, the transition of power. That Peter Parker will be now a dad. And Ben Reilly will be the new Spider-Man. And Peter Parker will raise the new child, the future Spider-Man, you know. But then what you do is the fucking backpedaling. Fucking backpedaling. What the fuck? Backpedaling. Check you out fast here. Fucking backpedaling. You say, oh, Peter Parker is the real guy. Ben Reilly was the fake and Ben Reilly dies. You know what? Because fans complained. Oh, and suddenly MJ's kid, oh, she's in natural abortion because of the radiation. What the fuck, radiation? You're talking about radiation now? When the spider was hit by a little irradiation, changes its genetic molecules obviously, and then bit Spider-Man. That radiation was so strong that it still held with him in his late 30s. Okay, in his mid to late 30s. Because that's where you keep Spider-Man. Obviously, the reason why is you couldn't give him a son or a girl. You couldn't let him evolve because the fans were complaining. And it's the sales that let you like stick into the rut that he has to be Peter Parker. You don't let him evolve and you don't let him. It's just like with Batman or Superman. They die and you don't let them pass the torch. You don't let them pass the torch. And I love Superman, I love Batman, and I love Spider-Man. I love them, you know. It's weird, but they're close to me. You know, they are characters that I grew up with. And you think, oh, it's weird. You're a person who you were a nerd, and yes, I'm a fucking nerd. But you know what? It's just like somebody growing up with Huckleberry Finn. And I grew up with Huckleberry Finn. I grew up with Robin Hood. And I grew up with King Arthur and Ben-Hur and whatever. You know, all these characters, you know, I grew up with them. And I read them. How much, you know, most of them are non-existent. Or set in the distance and past where we don't know if they were real or not. So, yeah, Robin Hood was non-existent. So, and they teach us morals. So why would be, this is modern mythology, you know? Just like Hercules, just like I grew up with Hercules and Thor. Yeah, Thor, actually. I knew about Thor before I knew about the Marvel Thor. I'm just sick and tired, you know? They say don't be ashamed of a Superman. I'm not saying you should go back to a Silver Age power level, because that's what kind of ruined him and spoiled him. He was way too powerful. And you know what? You anime, you otakus, okay? And I'm saying this from a guy who actually also enjoys anime and manga. I watch Dragon Ball Z, and I recently watched Gungrave. I can enjoy anime and manga, you know. I'm not against people who enjoy anime and manga. But I'm against you people who are absolutely obsessed with anime and manga and JRPGs and whatever and everything, you know. And not even Japanese culture, because I find Japanese culture very interesting, but even Japanese people would see you as weird. Yeah, I know. Oh, you're evil, you know. Listen here. What I'm saying is that a lot of you guys say, oh, Western comic books and characters, which would be considered the superior genre more or less, are so weird, and they're wearing these silly costumes. And they're doing these silly, insane things. Really? If you dare say that, and you look at the crazy shit, the anime, manga, and all the JRPGs and, you know, a lot of the anime styled games characters wear, you know, and not just wear, but the shit that they do. I'm talking mostly shonen stuff, you know, because like Gungrave, for example, is way more mature and cool, and you have also Cowboy Bebop, which is cool, and even, you know, yeah, you have Dragon Ball Z was absolutely shonen over the top, you know, but it's awesome. I like it, and I'm not against that over the topness. I'm not even against stuff like One Piece, even though I personally don't like it. You know, I have no problem with people liking it or anything liking, you know, because I'm very open-minded, you know, I'm... Even Bleach, what I really don't like. But... Bleach, or like, what is it called, that Naruto shit. You know... Look... That is stuff, it's just not out of my time. I was too old for that shit. Would I've been younger. I love ninjas. You think I don't like ninjas? You know what? The thing is, I actually enjoy ninjas and samurais, but I enjoy them in a traditional way. Like, I grew up with movies like Shogun. Okay, and the shit with, you know, me and my brother, we played the board game Shogun. Okay, which took like one round of the game was like 1 or 2 hours. One round, and it was like basically trying to take over Japan. Me and my brother were trying to fight each other to take over Japan. And it's like, I enjoy that stuff, okay? Because I enjoy history in general. And I find that freaking badass, you know. Just as I enjoy Hungarian history, German history, American history, African history, whatever history. I enjoy it all, and I think it's awesome. But when people say, oh, you don't like Naruto, then you don't like, you know, you're a racist. I don't even know if there's people who say that, but I was like, I like Naruto because, number one, there's nothing to do with ninjas, with real ninjas. Number one, there's very little historical accurate resources about ninjas, but there's no way in hell that shit like Naruto is even close to the reality when they're like just running and jumping through the woods, and then all they do is then some kind of magic spell appears. Okay, ninjas were assassins and spies and cutthroats and ex-samurais and whatever. They would do whatever it takes to fulfill their mission or kill themselves, and often they died. But okay, guys, this is where I'm coming from. And then I have a friend who's saying, you show me a orange dressed ninja with big spiky hair that can hide in the plain sight anywhere, and I will show you my ass to kick. So, and that's a good joke, and I'm not even saying about the whole realism thing, because obviously with these shows you don't have to be doing the whole realism thing, and obviously I'm ranting and I'm flame baiting, whatever, but I personally don't like these shows. What I'm saying is that I've gotten off tangent. Obviously there's anime and manga that I personally like, and there's anime and manga that I don't like, okay? If you can get over that, I'm just some dude on the internet. Get over it. You probably won't even care. You probably won't even notice because you will be watching Bleach. You won't even notice this video exists because you're watching the 100th episode of, the 5,000th episode of One Piece. That's fine with me. But all I'm saying is to DC and Warner, get your shit together, okay? If you're gonna make a Justice League movie, do it right. either make multiple movies to a upcoming movie, or make a movie, just Justice League, but do it right. Okay, take your time, get a good script, get good writers that are a fan of the show, not just some douchebags that did like some TV show. Okay, you got the guy who did Castle to write the script. Are you fucking kidding me? Come on. I'm sure you're gonna rewrite the script. Just leave this and announce it. Get some better script writers. You have the money. Warner DC. Okay, this rant is over. To the death, mug of doom. I will talk to you later.